Yes, so thank you very much. So this is, put it differently, this is a pitch for the great customization facilities of oXygen. But I first want to emphasize one aspect. This is not about ITS in general. We have, there's a 20-minute slot tomorrow explaining ITS more in detail. This is about one part of ITS, what you can create markup expressing so-called text analysis annotations. What's that? Well, that's to annotate concepts, entities, potentially named entities in a text, and that can be useful for various purposes. So, for example, to disambiguate something so that a translator more easily understands what is a certain item about, what concept does it relate to. For search engine optimization, so that search engines easier pick up the concept somebody wants to express in a web page. Or for various other types of content analytics. So I say that here for the people who have been here this morning. So the issues are, so annotating, bless you, annotating this manually takes too much time. Nobody can annotate these concepts manually. Annotating automatically is error prone. So the solution is to enable an automatic annotation in oXygen and allow users easily to edit the results. And this is a customization of oXygen 5.1, but bringing that to 5.2 I think will not be a big deal. All files you need can be downloaded here. So what steps needs to be taken? First, customize your content type. This is here done for DocBook 5, so that it allows for this text analysis markup. Then create an oXygen action who actually generates that markup. That calls an external annotation service. And then create what you see is what you get, oXygen author environment for easy correction. So that authors can easily work with this. The first customization of the document type was actually not done by me, but by Jirka. So thanks a lot for that. And it can also be used for other purposes. Oh, sorry, this was this slide here. Can also be used for other services, for example, to generate HTML out of that. But with that schema here, DocBook plus ITS, that was the basis to use the facilities that I want to explain. So what do we need here for this scenario? As I said, we don't need all of ITS, but the so-called text analysis markup. And here's an example how that markup looks like. You have a sentence saying, welcome to the city of Prague. Here an attribute which identifies the type of that entity, saying it's a location, as you can see from the URI, and then the entity itself. So here having an identifier to Prague. So that kind of markup can be useful in the scenarios I had mentioned, like disambiguation and so on, and we want to auto-generate that markup. So that was the first step, customization of a document type, and the next step is the creation of an oXygen action to actually do the automatic text analysis. So here I created a style sheet which first extracts the text to be annotated, then sends the text to a RESTful service. And here I'm using service I'd mentioned again for people who's morning the session with DBpedia Spotlight service. That uses mostly DBpedia, Wikipedia as training material, so the identifiers which are generated then naturally often are related to Wikipedia. The third step is to integrate the annotations into the text again, and here it's important that we take the existing markup into account. So the text analysis tools just can process text. They don't know about markup. But when putting the content in again, we want to preserve the existing markup. You will see that in the demo. And what's linked here are the algorithms for doing this round tripping, so to say. But I won't go into details here. So the first step then for making it easy for people to work with this is to create a WYSIWYG environment. And here I was really happy about this take-home 5 minutes because it really encouraged me, plus a longer thank you Deutsche Bahn train tip to work on this, and you will see results in a minute. So these were the 3 steps needed, and now it's time for the demo. So first you see here the style sheet I had mentioned that's calling the service, and at the moment it's just calling the DBpedia Spotlight service, but you see here with just one global variable that has the address of the endpoint. So you see it's easy to adjust that. If the output is somehow similar generated by these tools, then you can easily use other tools. Here's the CSS, and it has also for various other ITS items that I won't go into detail now, but like with some facilities, like the translate attribute that Source mentioned, and here are then some items for the text analysis. So here's now an example document for generating that information, and it works like this, that not everything in the document is generated, but just the element where I set the context. And if I click here, there's now a menu ending saying ITS add. I'm able to add also other ITS items here. This just relies on the CSS style sheet. I won't do that now. I will just do the automatic text analysis. It takes a moment and hope that the internet connectivity is now working. It does. So what you see here, that now some visualization has been created here. And you can see here when I turn off the ITS CSS, that just disappears. So if people do not want to work with that, that's fine too. And what information do you get here? So in the class ref, as I said, there are various DBpedia links to identify the type of concept. Then in the ident ref, there is an identifier. It goes to Frankfurt oder. I took this example here because some people may not know, some translators may not know, that there are two cities called Frankfurt in Germany. So this identifier then helps the translator to see, okay, this is the Frankfurt oder city, and here's the confidence value. And one change I could do here then is to say, I'm 100% confident, so, and I give it a confidence value of 1.0. Validation also still works, so I give 1.0 is the only value which is allowed. So I given 1.1, for example, I get an error here. Also now to make it easier for people to work with this, when I see a annotation was wrong, here I see the word rest has been annotated. I now have the ability to remove this annotation here and say I remove just the text analysis attribute, all ITS attributes, or also the complete element. And since the complete element was generated, I would remove the complete element here. So I'll just undo this so that you can see the next demo. And in this example here, the text where the auto-generation is done, there is existing markup. I'm showing this here so that you can see that this is not destroyed. Again, I'm calling the annotation service. And you see when there is no existing markup, a new element is generated. When there is existing markup, the existing element gets these ITS attributes, and that also works with nested markup here. So these elements here are preserved, and then there's another element here generated, which...
You can maximize from the green button because it's on the water resolution.
Yeah. What do you mean by green button?
Maximize. Yeah, maximize.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thank you. So you see here the embedded term food that gets then a new piece of markup, a new element, but the existing markup is preserved. So this is basically how the service is working, and I think I'm close to the end of my talk in terms of time. So just to say what would be next steps to allow for more document types, so not only DocBook, to have the ability to use other services, so not only DBpedia, Spotlight, but also services which rely on not only on Wikipedia and also on other languages, and create work more on the WYSIWYG environment. And one last slide to give some background, what I had this morning also. This is based on a project where we are working on such content analysis scenarios. So if you want to contribute that, here are some links which gives you more information. And with that, I think I'm done. Thank you.